Welcome everyone. Today we're going to explore the fascinating psychology behind obedience and authority. Why do people follow orders even when those orders conflict with their personal beliefs? What factors influence our willingness to comply with authority? By understanding these psychological principles, we can become more aware of how authority shapes our choices and society as a whole. Obedience is an essential part of society. It helps maintain order, structure, and cooperation. However, history has also shown us that obedience can sometimes lead to unethical or even dangerous outcomes. Why do people comply with authority even when it goes against their morals? Today we'll look at key psychological studies and real-world examples to understand how obedience works and how it applies to our world today. One of the most famous experiments on obedience was conducted by Stanley Milgram in the 1960s. He wanted to investigate how ordinary people could commit harmful acts simply because they were following orders. In the experiment, participants were instructed to administer what they believed were painful electric shocks to another person. Despite hearing cries of distress, most participants continued simply because they were told to. This study demonstrated the powerful influence of authority and raised important ethical questions about human behavior. Milgram's study revealed some critical findings about obedience. First, people are more likely to comply when the authority figure appears legitimate, such as a scientist or government official. Second, when individuals follow orders, they often shift responsibility to the authority figure rather than seeing themselves as accountable. Lastly, social pressure plays a key role. If others are obeying, people are more likely to follow suit. These findings help us understand why individuals sometimes engage in actions they might not normally consider ethical. There are several factors that contribute to why people obey authority. First, the legitimacy of the authority figure plays a huge role. People are more likely to comply if they perceive the figure as knowledgeable or powerful. Second, social pressure reinforces obedience as people fear rejection or standing out. Third, small steps of compliance make it easier to justify larger actions, a process called gradual commitment. Lastly, diffusion of responsibility means people don't feel personally accountable when they're just following orders. These elements can make obedience incredibly persuasive. People conform to authority and social expectations in different ways. Normative conformity happens when individuals go along with the group to avoid rejection, even if they don't truly believe in what they're doing. Informational conformity, on the other hand, happens when people genuinely accept the authority's perspective as the truth. Both types of conformity influence decision-making and can shape entire belief systems, sometimes even overriding factual evidence. Throughout history, obedience has played a major role in shaping political and social movements. While obedience can be necessary for maintaining orders, it can also be dangerous when people blindly follow authority without questioning its ethics. Understanding these psychological principles helps us recognize when obedience is being used to manipulate rather than guide. The media plays a huge role in reinforcing obedience. Repeated exposure to specific messages can shape beliefs, especially when people are surrounded by others who think the same way. This creates echo chambers where individuals only hear information that reinforces their current views. Persuasion tactics such as emotional appeals and repetition make authority figures appear more trustworthy, making people more likely to comply with their directives. Obedience is not inherently bad, but it becomes dangerous when people stop thinking critically. Recognizing when obedience turns into blind submission is crucial for ethical decision-making. Asking questions, seeking multiple sources of information, and thinking independently can help individuals make more informed choices rather than simply following the crowd. To conclude, obedience is a fundamental part of human behavior, shaping everything from workplace dynamics to political movements. However, understanding how it works allows us to make informed choices and recognize when obedience is being used to manipulate. By staying aware and thinking critically, we can balance respect for authority with personal ethics. Thank you so much for watching.